My name is Brennan Young and welcome to my first ever official YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about how I got kicked out of my college for hanging out with a girl off campus. We're going to talk about why I went to the school and what happened. So I went to Pensacola Christian College in Pensacola, Florida. I went there after I graduated high school and I was 18 when I decided to go there. I decided to go there because it was the only school that my parents offered to pay for, and also my sister had graduated from that school. When I think about all of the rules and the craziness, I wasn't very scared because my Christian school and church growing up were independent fundamental Baptist, so very extreme. And this church, while it was non-denominational, they leaned Baptist, independent fundamental Baptist. And what that looks like is just, hymns in every service, no clapping. Women are not allowed to wear pants, you get the gist. So I decided to go there, and while a little bit scared and hesitant, I was excited to get on my 2 feet. So I was like, okay, this is an exciting time where I get some independence and, I become a man. So I was looking forward to making friends and also just getting my degree. So I went there, like I said, when I was 18 years old. I was excited because some of the rules had changed. When my sister had gone there was a no headphones policy. Earphones, AirPods, whatever it was, you could only be listening to Christian music. So we had to make sure that those were not in, because you're not allowed to have them. And there was an 11 p.m. lights out policy. So if you are not in your bed with the lights out at 11 p.m., you'd be written up for it. That means you couldn't study past that time. You had to be in your room. In addition, for shaving, guys had to be completely clean shaven. Girls, I'm guessing girls had to be clean shaven as well. But no facial hair at all. When I got there, you could have facial hair if it connected, but you couldn't have any goatee action. If you had a nice firm mustache, you could have it. But I didn't, so I would have to shave it consecutively. And they would make sure that you were following these rules by having student life all throughout campus. So they would pay students to be student life to write people up, and also there were people with specific job titles at that school to write people up. So yeah, the biggest rule at that school was no guys and girls hanging out off campus with each other. There are a lot of opposite sex rules. I would say those are probably the most extreme, and those are the ones that will get you the most punishment. If you get 100 demerits, you are kicked out of the school. If you don't know what demerits are, it's basically just keeping tallies of what you're doing wrong. So if you do something wrong, then you're written up for it. There's no physical contact at the school, so if you hug, hand hold, kiss, whatever it is, I think it's 25 demerits. And then also if there's a dress code violation, or if you miss one of the required services, that will also get you written up. If you don't make your bed, if you don't clean your room, they have people check in chapel, and if it's not clean, then you get written up for it. So I went there when I was 18, excited, I had a relationship with Christ and I was looking forward to growing it, but it was very difficult feeling guilty for doing things that weren't sinful and weren't against God's will. I would say that was the biggest critique that I had of the school. I understand that I decided to go there, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm just informing you of some of the rules and craziness, So the biggest difficulty was not having freedom as an adult and not being trusted to do things, not being able to go to the movie theater with friends, not being able to get lunch with one of my girlfriends off campus. You couldn't take a girl out on a date unless there was a chaperone or you were dating for a long period of time. And everywhere that you went, you had to write where you were going. And if you're going off campus, you had to say where exactly. So I got by breaking a lot of the rules, truly. I would hang out with some of my friends in a mixed group off campus. We would hang out with our girlfriend, or we would see movies all the time, and we had a sticker on our car, so we would put leaves over it just to make sure that we weren't going to get caught. We would park under a tree, and then we'd also try to skip some of the required services. There's a Sunday school service, a Sunday morning church, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and guys had to be in suits, and there was no exceptions, and if you weren't, it was 25 demerits, and if you weren't there, it was 25 demerits. So at that point, you might as well not go. And then chapel was also a requirement every single day. The church on campus you're required to go to. You can't go to other churches unless you get it approved, which is very rare. So I enjoyed my experience at the school. While I broke some of the rules, I was okay with it, but I also constantly felt uncomfortable. I felt like I was doing something wrong. I felt like I was letting down my friends. I was like, why am I not a better leader? Why can't I point people in the right direction? And why do I not care about following the rules? Because my sister did. She followed every one. And I think that that was very hard for her faith, because it was a very works-based religion, just like, if I do this right, then God is pleased with me, and if I don't, then God is not pleased with me. Where the relationship of just being able to meet with him, know that he's your provider, that he is going to take care of you, and that he has a plan for your life, like, as simple as that, like, that was not applied. It was more so, you would go to chapel, and if you were talking, if you were on your phone, if you were laughing with a friend, that would get you written up. It was just a big judgment at that school. Just, that's the overall sense that I got from it. There were probably a good, like, maybe 5% of people who would actually call themselves believers, but for most people, they were forced to be there. And since, a lot of the rules would get you in trouble, you might as well break every one. So that's what people did. But let's talk about how I got kicked out. So it was spring break. All of my friends and I were going to go to Gulf Shores, Alabama. I made a passing that I was going to go home to Maryland, because obviously I wouldn't be able to get this approved. So I said that I was going to go home, and my family was very aware of it. They helped me pay for the Airbnb, and it was all friends that they had met before. Like, the friend group that I had, like, they cared for each other, and our families knew about each other. So it was very safe. It wasn't like, we're going to hook up with people, we're going to drink, we're going to smoke, we're just going to go buck wild. It wasn't that at all. It was just friends hanging out with each other. So we went an hour away from campus. So we decided to do that, and we also decided to go to Culver's. We were very excited to go, and lo and behold, there was a student life worker there who saw us, and he spotted us. But we were like, no, we're fine, no worries at all, like, we're good to go. And then it turns out that he did see us. We didn't find that out until later, but we enjoyed the rest of our trip, like, very tame. And when I got back to campus, I, tried to go to student life to work out a grade situation. If you missed your class more times than you had it, like a week. So if I missed class 4 times and my class met 3 times that week, then I would drop a letter grade. And unless it was approved, then you were going to drop a letter grade, and there's nothing that you could do about it. So that was my case. So I was like, let's go to student life. Let's talk about this. So I went and I met with him. I remember his name. I'm not going to say it. But he was like, so how was your spring break? And I was like, it was good. Like, thank you for asking. He was like, yeah, so I saw that you went to Maryland. Did you enjoy it? And I was like, yeah, it was great. Thank you. And he was like, so you were at Maryland the whole time? And I was like, yeah, I was. And he was like, well, I saw you in Alabama. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, well, I was there. And he was like, were you with any girls? And I said, no. And he was like, so you weren't with a blonde girl? And I said, I was. And then after that, they said, okay, you can step outside. And I knew they were going to call all of my friends into the office and get all of our stories. So I had my phone for about a minute. I texted my family. I said, they know, like, we're going to get suspended. I texted my friends. I was like, they know. And then they asked, and they took my phone away, and I had to give it. I've signed up for it, so I have to agree to it. So they took my phone away, and then they met with all of us. They pulled everybody out of their classes, and they got the story from each one of us. And we all had the same stories. Did we watch any movies? No. Were there other people who came along on the trip? No. But there was another girl who met us there, but she didn't stay overnight. So we weren't going to rat her out. They're like, they already know about one girl. We're not going to mention the other one. So we decided not to mention the other girl's name. So everybody had the same story. And we said that, originally we were like, she didn't come with us. Hannah didn't come at all, the one girl. And then her mom said, yeah, we know that she was there, and I'm okay with it. And then after that, that kind of sealed our fate. So we had the same story going on. They kept prolonging meetings. Every day we would have to meet with them. All of us were just kind of sick and exhausted. And then in those meetings, they were very judgmental. I remember a woman saying and your parents knew about this? And I said, yes. And she's like, shame on them. Why? My parents and I have a good relationship where I'm honest with them. Isn't that pretty amazing? But for them, it was just how dare they allow you to break rules? And I was like, whatever, so be it. It was a very sweet time. all of my friends prayed together. We're like, God, like work this out, like allow us to stay here. But that just wasn't the case. So they ended up suspending all of us, and my dad like really went to town with the student life member of just like, you're pulling people away from their faith. These are people who care a lot about each other and about this school, and you're just like tarnishing whatever this could look like. You're just, you know, gonna pull them away from the church, whatever it is. And he's like, yeah. So, you know, we got suspended, and then this one girl who was there, she ended up getting ratted out, one of the people in our group, to try to like, you know, get some like bonus, was like, hey, just to let you know some information, she was also here. And then they said, oh, it's okay, because she lives on campus, because her parents were staff, they said it's all right, they were under her control, so it's okay if she went there, so they weren't going to suspend her. So they just suspended like the 5 of us. And then that night, the girl and a guy also met together, and they were like, they didn't come back onto campus. So we were suspended. So my friend, my guy friend, decided not to go back to campus. And the girl was like, oh, since I'm good and I'm under my parents' control, no worries at all. Well, because they did that, and she allowed him to break another rule when he was suspended, she ended up getting suspended as well. So all of us, you know, got the boot. And there was another guy who was a part of our friend group who was not there at all. He didn't join. He didn't stay in the Airbnb, but they knew that he was a part of our friend group, like we were kind of well known, whatever. And at the end of the semester, when he had finished all of his exams, they said, we've been tracking you the past couple of weeks. We noticed you hugged this girl. We noticed you haven't shaved these dates, that puts you over 100 demerits, and you're not allowed to come back. And there was nothing that he could do, even though he didn't break the rules. Just because he was associated with us by name, that was enough to get him kicked out. So looking back on it, am I thankful for my experience? Yes, because it led me to a greater school, Grand Canyon University. It allowed me to pursue God and to be more prayerful, to just like desire closeness with him, because I constantly was journaling while I was at that school, just like, God, like, where are you? Like, what's going on? Why are you allowing this to happen? And I just need like your peace. I need your presence. And that like kind of like put my foot in the door to seek him. So for that, I am very thankful. But beyond that, I don't think that I would ever like consider going back with my state of mind now. It was just too much on your faith. It was too much mentally. It was very taxing, and just, yeah, not what a body believer should look like. And for that reason, I wouldn't go back. But I hope you appreciated this little story time. I'm sorry it wasn't a 50-part series, but I hope you enjoyed it, and bye.